Welcome to BUS243 Human Resources. I'm George Ferguson, the instructor for the course. I just back in December recently retired from Johnson County. I was a full-time faculty member in the business department, and I'm like a bad penny. I'm come back to teach a few classes as an adjunct. Okay, so um, here I am. In this video, what we're going to do is go over what the expectations are for the course and how to actually utilize the stuff that's in Canvas. So I am going to go ahead and share the screen so that you can see where we're at. Now, when you log into the course, you're going to find this screen right here. This is your home screen, and you'll see the most recent announcement here at the very top. Now, hopefully you're going through the this video, okay? It's also in the Start Here section. One of the things I always tell folks is when you start this class, start with the Start Here. And the reason is because it's going to give you some background as far as what the technical expectations are, although you can just use a Chromebook, okay, to do this course. The way I've set it up, it's real easy to access. You can get to everything. You don't need some of the highfalutin types of things that this is asking for. There's a video on how to connect to day one access. That's going to be very important. You need to make sure that you connect to day one access so that you have access to the textbook and the various exercises and things that go along with the course. You also need to make sure that you register for a Wall Street Journal subscription, because one of the things that I'm going to ask is for you to find an article in the Wall Street Journal that you like, or something that applies to the course, or something along those lines, and to provide a summary for it. There's also a video on how to complete the reading assignments, how to submit assignments in Canvas, how to view your grades. That's really important. A lot of students say, I had no idea what I was doing or where I was at. All you have to do is watch the video and it'll show you how to see your grades. How to participate in discussions, and how to use Zoom for office hours in case we want to use Zoom. So that's under this Start Here section. Now, let's go to the syllabus. Now, one of the things I've done is I've set up most of the pages some quick links to the various things. These are the things that most people will utilize on a particular daily basis as far as the course is concerned. Now, looking at the syllabus here, I have an office, one of the little adjunct offices over in OCB 272, and you have my extension here. Feel free to call anytime. All right, if I'm not in, leave a message. I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. One of the things I do is get back to students just as quickly as I can, typically within 24 hours. And when it comes to graded things, I bust my rear end to make sure that I get things turned around within 24 hours after the due date. So we have a lot of things that are due on Sundays. I spend Mondays getting everything graded and feedback to you so that hopefully you know where you stand for those last week's stuff by Monday evening. You see my email address. Feel free to get in touch with me anytime. We can set up an appointment to meet in the office, or we can meet via Zoom. You have the class information. Obviously, we're online. The book we'll be using is Fundamentals of Human Resource Management by No. When you connect to the McGraw-Hill stuff, you'll have access to it online. Now, if you want a paper copy of it, feel free to go to the bookstore. You can get it's a 3-ring binder type thing as far as the book is concerned. Some people prefer to have paper, whatever suit is best for you. There'll be no digital proctoring as far as any of the assignments or the exams, and I'm not going to do any recording as far as any kind of classes or meetings or anything like that. Hopefully you've read over the course description by now and the course objectives, the things that we want to get out of this semester. This is a day one program here at Johnson County Community College. In other words, excuse me, the book is online, the assignments are online, and so you need to make sure that you get signed up for the Connect. And there's a video that shows you how to do that. Now, the way I have things set up Everything is done by week. And a week goes from Monday to Sunday. And everything is going to be set up in modules where everything that you need for that week is within that module. Now, every week, what we're going to have is, except for the first week, readings of the assigned chapters and completing the Connect exercises and all the questions that go along with that by Tuesday. Then you have an online discussion. Then you have Wall Street Journal article, and then an online application activity where you're actually applying some of the stuff from that chapter to a particular situation. There's going to be 14 readings. Okay, each one counts 10 points. And then with the readings, what you're doing is you go through the reading. What I suggest is at least skim the chapter, because then you go through a series of connect questions. And what it does is it will get you into the content. The whole idea behind it is reinforcement of the information. Then you have discussion forums. Now, a discussion forum is like a classroom discussion where you have a particular question that's asked or something that's you're supposed to post about. What you do is you provide your initial post, and your initial post needs to be well thought out and complete. Your initial posts are due by Thursday. Now, if you don't do that initial post by Thursday, it's a 0 for the assignment. You lose all 10 points. So you have your initial post, which is due by Thursday. Then the minimum is 3 significant responses to others' posts by Sunday. Now, when I say significant, that's something more than, I like your post, gnarly post, dude, sort of thing. That does nothing as far as advancing the content, bringing in new information, and that sort of thing. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you are challenging, that you are bringing in something that somebody hadn't thought about. We want to expand the knowledge of the content through that discussion post. If you meet just the minimum with your initial post by Thursday and 3 responses by Sunday, that's average. That's average, which is a C. So you might get like 7 out of 10 points. To earn more points, what you do is you get involved, you stay involved, you continue to bring in new information, you continue to be a part of that discussion. And I'm not opposed to providing extra credit to people who go well beyond the expectation. You have 10 discussion posts. Now, we're not going to have any discussion posts on the weeks that we have exams. You have your Wall Street Journal articles. Okay, now it's a free subscription to the Wall Street Journal. I mean, it's really cool. And so what you do is you go through the Wall Street Journal every day. You kind of skim over it and you find an article that's really kind of interesting for you, something that might apply to that chapter. And then what you do is you post a link to that and a summary of that. And that'll be within a separate discussion. We'll talk about that later. You have your application activities. And these are activities that are within Connect where you are going to be put into a situation. It's as if you are actually a part of that situation, a person in that situation. And you go through and you answer a series of questions on that. 4 exams, okay? Each exam is 30 multiple choice questions. The whole idea behind it is to reinforce the information from the chapters that were assigned for that exam. And the exams will be about, once every 3-4 weeks. The exam can be taken on Friday and Friday only. I do not do makeups. There'll be no makeups. Now, let's say that you're traveling or something and you're not available on that Friday. You can take it early. You can't do a makeup. Then at the very end of the semester, we have a reflection and action paper where you step back and you say, what were the key things that I learned over this semester? And you summarize those things in your own words. Then what you do is you say, okay, now here's my action plan. Here's how I'm actually going to use those concepts and things that I learned. So think about it as a 50-50 split. Summary of the key things that you learned and action plan on what you're going to do with it. One of the things I suggest is send me a draft. Send me a draft of what it is that you're talking about doing. You can get started on this reflection paper early. And let's say that you do maybe the first half of it or something. Send me a draft of what you have. I'll tell you what to fix. Because one of the things I want to do is help you be successful. I don't accept late work. Everything needs to be on time. Whenever you're dealing in business and you have a customer, you be on time no matter what. If the system crashes and something's going on, we can't get in, You're not going to be held accountable for any kind of due dates. One of the things I think is really important is this right here. All students have the right to express their opinions. You may not agree, and that's okay. You can say you disagree. The thing is, you don't judge and you don't go against what somebody is saying. Everybody has their own opinion on things. Again, I get back to you just as quickly as I can. Okay. I turn assignments around as fast as possible, and your final grade is determined by the number of points that you've earned. And easy. I require attendance. In other words, attendance in an online class is actually doing the things throughout the week that you're supposed to be doing. In the first week, if you do not do at least one of the graded assignments in that first week, you will be dropped from the course. That's an administrative school policy on that. Now, I don't do instructor drops. Some instructors do, where you have somebody who's kind of disappeared, they're not doing anything, they'll drop them so that they don't have an F, and it helps the instructors' averages. I don't do that. I hold people accountable for their choices. Don't accept late work. You can see how the grades are being set up. You have 14 readings, 10 discussions, 12 Wall Street Journal articles, 10 application activities, 4 exams, and a final reflection. Okay, and you can see the number of points that you earn and the grades that go along with that. Have your student code of conduct. Okay, make sure you're familiar with that. Don't cheat, don't plagiarize. And I do not allow AI in my courses. The reason for that is because I want students to learn how to write. I want to see what it is that they're writing, what their opinions are, what their research is showing, not what ChatGPT's is showing. I run stuff through AI checkers. If I find someone who is using AI to write the paper, it's a 0 for the assignment. And if I catch them doing it a second time, it's an F for the course. So don't do that. If you need any kind of accommodations, get in touch with Access Services. We have some really good counselors. I've referred people to our counseling center before. You can see what the drop deadlines would be as far as getting money back and that sort of thing. Your campus health and safety, the safety issues that go along with that, be prepared with that. And then the technical requirements. And again, you can do this course primarily with a Chromebook. You don't have to have a $3,000 computer to get it done. One of the main things to think about, though, is for those of you who are using Macs, I do not accept anything that's done in an Apple format. I don't use Macintoshes. I don't use Apple. All right. I can't open anything that's sent in an Apple format. Canvas can't open anything that's in an Apple format. You submit something in an Apple format, it's a 0 because I can't see it. I can't access it. Apple doesn't play well with anybody but Apple. So it needs to be preferably in a PDF or in Windows document formats or open document text formats. Each week, you're going to have readings, discussions, application activities, and Wall Street Journal articles. Now, this shows you kind of a overview as far as what it is that's required for the semester. Now, let's get into some of the details on this. Okay, so we're looking at home. Main thing is looking at the modules section. The modules are set up by week. You can see what the dates are on that, on each of the modules. Everything that you need for the week is within the module. So if you open up the module, you'll see that it's set up a certain way. You have your instructions at the very top. Anything that is an assignment where you're earning points will be set up indented this way. Any other articles or chapter PowerPoints will be indented even more. So it makes it really easy to determine which things are required, which things might be optional. Like, so for example, with week 2, okay, with week 3, you can see that, okay, here are the things that are required. Here's optional stuff. Here's your instructions. And when you're looking at the instructions, one of the things I've tried to do is make it real easy as far as accessing all the stuff within the course. from the instructions page, you can basically access everything. So in your instructions page, it has the quick links to the things that we typically go to. It has, here are the key things that we're going to be going over in this chapter and this week. And then it tells you by day, what is it that is required? So for Thursday, you need to make sure you review the syllabus, and there are hot links to each of these things. And you've gone over the videos and things in the Start Here section. You've completed the chapter 1 readings. You have 2 discussion boards. You have your Who Am I, and you have your chapter discussion. Now, the Who Am I discussion. This one is where we're just trying to get to know each other. All right. You do not have to do any responses to the Who Am I. Just put your Who Am I out there. Now, I've done mine as far as the video is concerned. That's up to you. You can just do it as text. You can do it as pictures, however you want to do it. Now, let's go back. Chapter 1 discussion. Again, the discussion, the initial post is due by Thursday, responses by Sunday. You can do that throughout the week, and that's one of the things I suggest. I have actually put out there an initial post, which I call my rant, to give you an idea as far as what the expectation is for your initial posts. Just putting in about 2 or 3 lines doesn't make it, folks. What I'm trying to get people to do is to stretch, to learn more than what they knew before. Maybe include new articles, new information, that sort of thing. So I have given an initial post to give you an idea as far as what the expectation is. So that's everything for week 1. Now, the rest of the weeks will look like this, where you have what you're going to learn that week, then your readings by Tuesday. By Thursday, you have your chapter discussion and your Wall Street Journal article. By Sunday, you have to finish your discussion and you have your application activity. So everything is set up, and there's hot links to each of those things. Makes it really easy to get to them. Okay. Looking at other weeks. When you get to weeks that have an exam, I say, hey, this is an exam week. All right. With the exam week, here's stuff we're going to be talking about as far as that chapter is concerned. And this week, in this case, it's chapter 4. There is no discussion on the weeks where we're doing an exam. So I've taken the discussion out on exam weeks so we can focus in on studying and preparing. I do ask you to do a Wall Street Journal article. Now, then you have the exam on Friday, and there's a hot link to the exam. And one of the things I always do with exams is I have practice exams set up where they open up. You have a practice exam here. It opens up on Tuesday at 7 o'clock in the morning, closes at midnight Thursday. You can do it anytime you want during that time. You can do it 3 times as a part of your study process. See, it says right here, it goes from Tuesday to Thursday. You can take it 3 times. That just prepares you for the actual exam right here. So you have your practice exams, and they're set up just like the regular exam. It's pulling questions from the same databases, same chapter databases, so that you can get an idea as far as what that chapter is actually covering. In fact, you may see some questions on the actual exam that were in the practice exam. You never know. It's done just by random selection. So that's the way every week works. And again, everything that you need is within the module. Now, the different weeks, you have your Thanksgiving week. Your Thanksgiving week is only 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, because the college is closed from Wednesday through Sunday. So the only thing that you have to do that week is the readings by Tuesday. Then the last week, week 15, the last week, is basically a wrap up and summary week. There is the last exam, okay, which is by Friday, which is on Friday, And again, there's a practice exam Tuesday through Thursday. And that last exam is only for chapters 12 through 15. It is not comprehensive. Then you have by Sunday a final reflection paper where you're going through. Half of it is summary of the key things that stick out for you with your description of them, your expectations, and what you understand about it. The other half, your specific action plan on how you're going to use those learnings. And again, no Apple file formats. And that's due by Sunday. And one of the things I suggest is sending me drafts before it's due so that I can tell you what to fix. So that is an overview as far as the course is concerned. If you ever have questions, please contact me. Send me an email, give me a call, whatever is necessary. I'll get back. If I'm not available, I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. Just leave a message and I'll get back. So I'm hoping to have a really good semester with everyone. Call me if you need me, if you need some help on something, or if you don't understand something. Looking forward to having a great exam semester. Thank you very much, folks.